And Taylor is our is Mancos's Conservation District's education and outreach coordinator, and she's working to expand the district's education efforts and to find new ways to connect conservation with community. Education is central to the work in the Mancos watershed, and Taylor is excited to engage in a wide range of residents, from agriculture producers to outdoor enthusiasts and youth. Neva Connolly has been the district manager for the MCD for 3 years. She is thrilled to be back in the conservation world after a 6 year stint in urban planning and is proud to be part of the Mancos Conservation District team. So you can begin whenever you're ready.
All right. Well, thank you for hosting us on Coffee Hour. Again, I'm Neva Connolly, the district manager for the Mancos Conservation District, and I'm here with Taylor, our education and outreach coordinator. The Mancos Conservation District is located in the very southwest corner of Montezuma County. Here at the district, we're running quite a few different programs, including a forestry program, a watershed health program, a soil health program, and we've even ventured into workforce housing. All of our programs run with a heavy emphasis on outreach and education. Today, we're going to spend our time today speaking about the soil health program and our efforts at outreach and education that have arisen from our local needs. The district it might help if I remember to forward our screen here. We're currently participating in the Colorado Department of Agriculture Soil Health Program, formerly known as STAR. We're saving tomorrow's agricultural resources. This program encourages producers to evaluate their operation and decide what practices or resources they want to focus on, and then provides a $5,000 per year for 3-year matching fund incentive to implement the farmer's chosen soil health practices. The Colorado Soil Health Program also provides funding for equipment grants, learning opportunities, field days, and funds CSU staff to provide additional technical support. The participants do a STAR field evaluation that kind of gives them ranking on their soil health practices compared to their neighbors. They receive a soil test in year 1 and year 3 of the program, and a soil moisture monitoring system for their enrolled field. So Mancos was part of the first round of funding from 2022 to 2025. The district originally pursued the funding to help increase overall drought resiliency. I think probably you guys have all seen this on the USDA website, where there's a statement, whether it's true or not, that says a 1% increase in organic matter can hold 20,000 gallons of water per acre. And in our area, 1 to 3% organic matter is kind of our natural soil organic matter in this area. So a 1% increase would be huge. As part of the first round of STAR, we had 7 producers sign up with 400 acres enrolled. With our equipment grant funding, Mancos purchased a 6-foot no-till drill, a wood chipper, and a roller crimper, which are all available for our producers to rent to pursue their soil health goals. For the second round of funding, which began this year, MCD has 13 producers with over 1,000 acres enrolled. Our program participation covers Montezuma County with a couple enrollees in Dolores and La Plata counties. Some of the practices our participants are enrolled in include intensive rotational grazing, bale feeding, and increasing cover and diversity with cover crops or mixed perennial species. For this second round of funding, the district has sent out a survey via social media to see what's missing and what kind of tools our producers are looking for. So this slide just this is one of our round 1 producers. And this field started off as basically bare dirt. And so the producer reseeded and then did bale feeding and grazing in the winter months. And she has noticed a huge increase in dung beetles and seedling sprouts in her field. And this was year 2 of the program. The cover has been huge. And so she didn't really change too much of her practices, but the incentive funding for this really allowed her to focus more on the bale grazing and rotating her cows more efficiently for this. So one of the first things we heard as administrators for the program was lack of information on our soil health practices that can translate to our high elevation, semi-arid climate. And there was a huge desire to have producer-focused workshops. Our district partnered with the adjacent High Desert Conservation District, and together we sought grant funding through CDA to bring topic experts to our area. So in 2022, we brought Ray Archuleta to our county, co-founder of Understanding Ag and the Soil Health Academy, and also a longtime NRCS employee. So Ray spent one day on presentations on soil health principles and demonstrations, and then had like slide after slide of examples of what was working in other parts of the country. The hands-on demonstrations were great. And so this slide shows a bunch of hands-on stuff that he did with our producers. Ray brought out his NRCS Rainmaker, which really hit home with the erosive effects of water on bare soil versus covered. However, many of the examples of soil health implementation came from the Midwest, with farmers planting hundreds and hundreds of acres of corn and soybeans and rotating those and using cover crops. And for the most part, that's not the agricultural system that we have in Southwest Colorado. So our producers were really left without good examples of how they can implement certain practices in our area. The second day of the workshop consisted of field tours of local producers and examples of what they were doing for soil health, in particular using cover crops and grazing them to termination before planting wheat or moving to perennial hay. And so the picture on the bottom right shows our field tour group. It's hard to see, but they had huge smiles on their face. And they're standing in front of some cover crops that are, over 6 feet high, which is really impressive for our area. But this was great because previous to this picture, the group had broken out into groups and were having informal conversations about, what they could change and what they were doing. And it was really great. So the feedback received from that workshop was that the farmer to farmer workshops were extremely helpful. So from there, the district partnered with CSU Extension, Montezuma County, High Desert Conservation District, Montezuma Land Conservancy, and a variety of other local agencies to hold landowner-oriented workshops that focused on demonstration of land management principles. So we've held these workshops in irrigation management, weed management, reseeding techniques, grass identification, and pasture and grazing management. We try to hold the workshops at a local demonstration farm or the CSU research station or at a local producer's property, where we can hold a lecture by a topic expert followed by on-site field demonstrations. We've brought out our seed drill for working demonstrations. We've moved side rolls and set up bucket tests to check for even irrigation. We've brought out soil probes to check for soil moisture. And all of this hands-on demonstration is really great for our workshop folks. Again, this summer we partnered with High Desert to bring out Fernando Falomir from Understanding Ag for a discussion and field visit on regenerative ag principles. A High Desert board member hosted this at his ranch and discussed his approach to soil health and cattle grazing and weed management and the effects that his management changes had it on his operation, and then some of the struggles that he's had with some of the changes. Again, this workshop was highly regarded by producers, and they left super excited to implement some of the grazing techniques discussed. So we plan to continue our workshops for both beginning farmers and longtime producers. In 2023, our district was awarded an NRCS Equity and Conservation Outreach funding to continue to provide and direct our research to expand access to conservation assistance and career opportunities, especially in underserved communities. So this funding will be used to increase our outreach efforts to farmers who are beginning, limited resource, socially advantaged, and veterans. And those are all terms that are specified by NRCS. And we'll highlight opportunities to students to pursue careers in agriculture, natural resources, and some related science. So we see a continuing need to reach out to new residents in this area as we're increasingly seeing more folks interested in homesteading, moving here specifically to homestead. And we definitely see the need to bridge the connection for producer to producer experiences. So in particular, our soil health producers have expressed interest in peer-to-peer workshops. Next summer, we're planning a demonstration of a soil health producer wanting to terminate oats with a district roller crimper as kind of a local experiment. We have had this roller crimper for, I think, almost 3 years now, and it hasn't been used once. So we're hoping, maybe it hasn't been used because we don't know enough about it, but more likely, maybe it just doesn't fit this area. So we're excited to see if it works on, this one specific project of terminating oats. Anyway, in addition to our landowner focused workshop, the district has expanded their youth education program. And I think this is a great point where I'm going to turn it over to Taylor.
Yeah, so we really do have a education component of all of our programs, and this is very true to our youth education as well. We like to offer students hands-on opportunities to gain additional knowledge around natural resources and the concerns they face. We also like to really highlight, natural resource careers and job opportunities for students and career pathways and get them excited about being outside and doing some hands-on science. We have expanded our education efforts to include several lessons about soil health and how it impacts watershed health. A lot of our lessons have a kind of overall watershed health component to address all of our program areas, including forestry, watershed, and soil health. Recently, we've done field trips and experiences with students from Southwest Open School, which is a alternative high school in Cortez, as well as the Mountain Middle School, the Mancos Public Schools, and the Mancos Public Library. We offer twice a month lessons at the Mancos Public Library for alternative lessons because they don't have schools on Fridays. So we go in there and do our lessons on our natural resources. And so some of these pictures are just fun to show. The bottom left, they're getting some hands-on science, doing some of their own soil testing. And then we really, like we said, do want to focus on the hands-on experience and the natural resource concerns. With our previous lessons, we've taken students into the forest to discuss forest health and soil health interconnections. We've displayed how bare soils and vegetated soils impact erosion and water quality. We've displayed how different soils have different infiltration rates, as well as tested soils for pH and lead and have students do an acid test just to see that fun reaction. And then as we have this fun soil tunnel from the NRCS that students love, and they get to do a scavenger hunt to learn about the complexities of soil. So just through various efforts, every year we've been involved in the Water Information Program Water Festival, as seen in the bottom left corner there, where the lesson was on soil food web and the water cycle. So really just all these hands-on experiences for students and actively getting them outdoors and excited about being outside and learning more about the natural environment around them is integral to both sides of the soil health program.
So that's about it for us.
Great, thank you. I do have a question. Do you guys work with like your local FFA groups and um like youth that way as well? Or do you focus more on the younger children?
For now, the focus has been on the younger children. We've been invited to judge the FFA rangeland competitions. But uh, and I think we've had a few lessons here and there at the high school. Um, uh, but yeah, we have reached out to the FFA folks, but they're, the teachers are in a really hard place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to be an ag teacher, so I totally get it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And there's no official ag program in Mancos. The only
Okay.
FFA is in Cortez or Dolores, so we don't have
Okay.
any local
Gotcha.
students to work with directly here.
Mhm. That's cool though. I'm glad that they're including you. That's really great.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions that anyone has about um anything that the Mancos district is doing or
I had a quick question. Um, Mesa Conservation District is thinking about building an education and outreach, building up more of our education and outreach programming, hopefully beginning next year. And I'm wondering if you guys have any insight or information to provide to us how to start reaching out to maybe organizations that work with youth or schools or how to initiate some of those first programs that you guys started and how that all played out.
Well, we have some secret weapons here. We have some former teachers with the district, and so one of our former teachers was already kind of doing some river watch lessons with her students, and had some contacts into the school district. So we were lucky in that regards that we kind of had a head start as to how to like reach out to folks. But I really think it's just, contacting the directors of the program and saying, hey, we have this really great, lesson here, and we're looking forward to how we can work with you to incorporate that into your classrooms.
Yeah, I would say for us, it's really worked great, for word of mouth once you get started, but even just some simple advertising of these are the programs that we offer, and we'll get asked a lot of times. Last year was the first year we'd interacted with the Mountain Middle School, and they had simply just reached out and said, hey, we know you guys have a soil health program. Do you mind finding a way to interact with our students? So it's really just finding a way to get the information out there. A lot of the stuff we do is just reach out to a random person and say, hey, we want to do this lesson. Do you have a time and a space for us to do it in your classroom? And a lot of times they'll be like, I'm not the right person, and go to this other teacher, or it'll be like, yes, I'd love to talk about it. And that's what we're doing kind of now. We're expanding our programs to partner with the High Desert Conservation District and do a little more programming in Dolores. And that was simply just by asking if they wanted us to be involved, and their ag teacher being like, yes, I want you guys to be involved and teach our students some things.
Awesome. Thank you.
I forgot to unmute myself. Does anyone else have any other questions? Well, thank you to you both. Actually, before we leave, Emily Schwaller has a couple quick little announcements for the annual meeting and the CCDEA stuff that's all going on. So, Emily, you can join on whenever you'd like.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for letting me jump on here. Kind of put myself on the spot, but I appreciate y'all letting me do it. And very cool, Mancos. That's a ton of STAR participants. I'm impressed with the organization for that many you guys must have. CCDEA, the Employees Association. I know Tanya's been sending out a bunch of emails. Kind of the big things we want to note is at the CACD meeting on Wednesday, we're going to have our annual meeting and then kind of roll into some facilitated conversation with Stephanie Scott, really to kind of help us gauge how we can better help employees across the state. We have some programs, but kind of knowing what employees need, we're hoping to get a better idea of that. So conversation, I know at that point, we're all going to be burnt out on sitting and listening. So it's going to be more kind of tell us what you need, tell us what you've learned, where are you having issues, where are you having successes, those sorts of things. Then also a plug, we do a silent auction at that. Really what that money goes to is scholarships for new employees to attend CACD meeting. So we are looking for donations for that. I will post that form in here. It's also gone out in Tanya's emails from the CCDEA 2020 email. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a great Wednesday.